Hey guys, it's Blazescribe back with more Genshin Impact. Today's video is on the newly released limited banners. As usual, I will be reviewing the characters and then I'll sum it up with my recommended pulling goals. So, without further ado, let's get into it. First of all, very excited to finally not risk pulling Zhongli in the banner, right? So, there are 3 reasons why Albedo will cause less controversy. 1. People don't have as much a hard-on on Albedo because he wasn't fleshed out in amazing stories like Zhongli. Number 2, people have lower expectations on Geo from Zhongli disappointment, but maybe for some people their hopes aren't as shattered due to the upcoming Geo buff. Number 3, Albedo has always been advertised as a Geo support, unlike Zhongli, who was sort of advertised as a DPS. And as far as being a Geo support goes, Albedo is actually a great one. I won't go into details in terms of what his kits do, but suffice to say that his elemental skill is one of the best Geo support skills in the game because it lasts for a very long time and it generates energy quite decently. In terms of the quickest Geo energy, Geo MC is still better, but with Albedo you don't have to swap in and out as much. His ultimate is a good burst support skill and he has a cheeky passive talent that increases the team's elemental mastery by 125, which is more than what you can get from a 4-piece instructor set. To put that into proper perspective, Sucrose has to have at least 625 elemental mastery before she can give the same amount of elemental mastery to the team. In terms of team synergy, when you run a Geo main carry, you normally want to bring Geo MC, who was the best Geo support for any Geo carries, but you can now free Geo MC from that spot and use Albedo instead. But if you need a Geo battery team comp, then yeah, you probably still want to bring 3 Geo characters rather than 2. Now, unfortunately, because his elemental skill lingers, whenever he procs a crystallize, it is very hard for you to cause any other reactions besides crystallize. Anyway, the TLDR is, he is a great pull for those of you who main Geo carries. He is a great Geo support, and if you do need a Geo support, then this is the pull for you. Moving on to Bennett. Oh god, how many times have I talked about Bennett? So let's just do this properly. Bennett is like a 6-star character in Genshin Impact. The reason why he is so good is because he is the best DPS for melt team comps because he pairs very well with Chongyun. Not even Diluc can actually get to that level. The reason for that is because when Diluc has used his ultimate, he will actually override Chongyun's field. So Diluc's best partner is Xingqiu, and he is more viable in a vaporized team comp rather than in a melt one. The reason why melt team comp is a big deal is because the most difficult content of the game heavily favors melt. The other reason is because you only have one Xingqiu in the game. It means that when your team is split into 2 in Spiral Abyss, you need to consider a different team comp other than vaporize, and the best option is melt. And this is the best melt team comp that works consistently. He is one of the most flexible characters in the game. He can function as either DPS or support. As a support, he is unlikely to badly interfere with your team's synergy. He has the best healing rate in the game. He gives the entire team an incredible amount of attack buff. He can help cleanse the condensed ice debuff on floor 12 Spiral Abyss. And he needs only very little investment as a support character. If you're looking for a healer pairing and your main DPS is Pyro, Bennett is the healer of choice almost by default. The TLDR, Bennett is a 4-star character that easily can surpass the value of a 5-star character in Genshin Impact. It's not an exaggeration. The best bang for the buck is to get him to at least Constellation 1. Be careful not to activate his Constellation 6 because you won't be able to use him in a melt team comp anymore. Sucrose. A lot of people still think of it as the budget Venti, and to be fair, Venti really is the most broken character in the game. Like, never mind comparing Sucrose to Venti, you would want Venti over Diluc or Klee, or anyone else in the game because even though he is not a DPS character, he is someone that when well invested, can really just clear rooms and play the game brain dead. However, there are a couple of things that need to be said of Sucrose. Sucrose has better synergies with melee characters because Venti's ult can have anti-synergy with melee characters. Sucrose's E, especially if you do it twice, has better grouping capacity than Venti's E. Not to mention that it has a decent energy generation burst as well. If you don't have Jean or Venti, which are 5-star, and Venti is no longer obtainable anyway, your only animal option is the animal MC. If you have elemental damage DPS, you normally want at least one animal character to proc the very decent Venera bonus. So if you don't really have Gene, you need Sucrose to maintain one animal support in each team when you're doing Spiral Abyss. Also, if you guys watch my Spiral Abyss Floor 12 team profile video, I actually use Razor, Xiangling, Sucrose and Gene consciously. At first I wanted to use Xingqiu, but I didn't like getting frozen, and Sucrose groups enemies together really well. Lastly, Fischl. Guys, I'm going to say this. Get Constellation 6 Fischl. Seriously. If you're planning to use Fischl, and Fischl still does have a room in Floor 12 Abyss, especially if you have a Hydro DPS option, then you will know why Fischl is rated as the top tier support character in the game. At lower constellations, Fischl is still amazing. Good consistent damage, good energy generation, easy to use. Considering of how weak Electro is, I think Fischl's viability is a testament to how strong her design really is. I'm not gonna say anything much except to show you guys what it's like running Child with Fischl. Moving on to the weapon banner, I must say that this is one of the better weapon banners out there. Let's talk about the featured 5-star weapons. As a general rule of thumb, a 5-star is a 5-star, and it's hard for 4-star weapons to catch up to 5-star weapons when they are fully maxed out. So if you main a sword character, don't feel down when you pull a 5-star sword, even if the sword synergizes better towards Geo users. But also actually, these days, if you get shielded by characters like Zhongli, Xinyan or Diona, you can still make use of the shield bonus anyway. For Skyward Atlas, again, is usually better than most 4-star weapons. It is actually great for catalyst mains such as Klee or Ningguang. Also to note, a lot of the 5-star weapons are actually sleeper weapons. For example, according to the number crouching down by Kleeful, Skyward Atlas is actually even better than Lost Prayer on Klee. For the rest of the weapons, I'll just quickly summarize what kind of characters they are good for and list a few names. So, Favonius Sword is the best 4-star sword for support characters in general. Unless you're Xingqiu or Chi-Chi who actually want Sacrificial Sword, this is usually the best option out there. Examples: support Bennett, support Kea, support Jean. Favonius Greatsword for support Claymore characters like Chongyun or Beidou. Favonius Lance is a viable weapon for all of the Polearm characters in the game if you're playing them as a support. Xiangling is a very flexible character because Dragon's Bane, Prototype Grudge and Favonius Lance all have their pros and cons and should be very close in terms of performance. Sacrificial Fragments is the best weapon for Sucrose because of her long E cooldown, and she's currently the only one that really wants this weapon. Stringless is the best 4-star weapon for Fischl and Venti. Anyway, the reason why the weapon banner is so good is not only because the weapons themselves are good, but it's actually reasonable to pull the weapon banner when considering that besides Fischl, Sucrose and Bennett are already massively improved at their first constellation. So because Bennett is the only one that hasn't ever been given a rate up, it's possible that you can focus on the weapon banner after just getting Constellation 1 Bennett. Let's wrap this all up with pull recommendations. If you main Geo, aim for Albedo. Get Constellation 1 Sucrose, get Constellation 1 Bennett. If you don't have Constellation 6 Fischl and you will use Fischl a lot, aim for Constellation 6 Fischl. If you have a Hydro main such as Child or Mona, aim for Constellation 6 Fischl. If you have Venti or Fischl, pull Stringless for both of them. The other weapons are amazing for support, but supports don't have as high a priority as carry, so most of them can make do with 3-star weapons. Stringless is the priority goal, but if you pull any of the other weapons, most of them will likely be usable. That's it for the banner review this time. If you find this video useful, please leave a like and subscribe for more Genshin Impact content. I will be producing 2 more videos soon, discussing the new Cryo Artifact stats and what I think about Kea and Chongyun. The other video will be a short video of what I think about Zhongli after he has been buffed. Until then, have a great one guys.